8 o'clock, hour number 2 underway. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, Monday, September 15th, right here on Jocks. Your feedback this hour. Tweet in at Mac and Cube. You can also text into the show, 205-834-9450. 205-834-9450. Alabama takes out Wisconsin 38-14. We discussed it a little bit earlier in the show. We'll go deeper into that victory against the Badgers now. Hear from Kalen DeBoer, who said after the game that he had positive takeaways all the way around for the most part.
Thought we came ready to play. Liked especially what our response was when we got stopped on fourth down. The defense come out and really not hanging their heads, and just the very next play getting the takeaway. And so a lot of different directions that thing could have gone after getting stopped there. Offense takes over, takes advantage of it, and moves the ball down the field. So it was really good to see the response to some adversity there. And 0 turnovers again, doing a good job. High priority of ball security, taking care of the football, and a couple more takeaways. So just again, guys, got more pressure on the quarterback with the sacks, and so just I thought it was a good team game. Obviously, there's some things we got to clean up with the penalties in particular.
So that's Kalen DeBoer on his positive takeaways from Alabama's win against Wisconsin. But there were some things that he said he saw that are going to need to be improved.
I'd love to see us do a much better job at the fourth quarter, just finishing. Got some drops there that our guys don't make, and so we got to play better there. And then a couple penalties at the beginning of the third quarter, just it's nonsense. I mean, we gave them a touchdown really because the ball would have been kicked out of the end zone. And so I love the energy on the sideline and I love the excitement, but we got to run off the field, right? So we just got to take care of those things, because those are things that can kill you in a tight game.
So obviously, Greg, a couple of mistakes that Kalen DeBoer is a little concerned about with what he saw from his team on Saturday, but that's going to be any game. I think they were at a minimum in this one.
I would say so. There were a couple times the TV cut away from it. He was ripping somebody. I mean, like the TV cut away right before he was getting ready. I mean, cut away immediately and absolutely just ripping somebody to shreds. Like, there's an accountability and a fire on that sideline that I don't think this staff gets enough credit for. And I think it's good. Look, no one expects you to be a perfect product after 3 weeks. But recognizing your blind spots, recognizing where you're falling short is of the highest levels of importance. So I think it's good. I think there's things to clean up for sure. But I also think, man, it's a great, great situation to be in.
I would agree. It's special teams obviously going to give you a couple hiccups every now and then, but hey, sure. you could have Caleb Johnson, and tip a kickoff and just let it go into the end zone, and your opponent recovers it for a touchdown. And Alabama didn't have to worry about that.
It happens.
What Kalen DeBoer said the message was to Ryan Williams when he wanted to get him back and get him going again.
Yeah, I think he's just hungry to get back out there and do what he does, and so missed last week and, wanted to be better than what he was in week one. And so he's, went back to work, and, it was good to see him and Ty connect. Not some easy throws that I think get a guy going, both Ryan and Ty, but then also some of those deep sideline throws, those aren't the easiest. And so they worked extremely hard on them. We were very intentional on making sure the timing of those routes were good all week long in practice, and they went out and executed. So it was good to see him, do his thing, because he's obviously crazy explosive, especially once he has the ball in his hands.
What's the difficulty level? Why is it greater there on some of those throws that Kalen DeBoer is referencing, G-Mac?
I feel like for the most part, there were some difficult throws that were made. The timing on some of those throws that were made, timing on some of those routes that were made, when you throw the ball, how early at the break before a guy gets out. I thought the passing attack was really, really, really nice this weekend. I was very encouraged. Ball placement, throws before the receiver's out of his break. It's just you're sensing a different level of chemistry. A couple option routes that were well placed, guys on the same page. Like, it was just very clean is how I'd describe it in the passing attack. Same page, you see it similarly?
Yeah, I liked the variety in which Alabama brought to the passing game. Like I said earlier, Ty Simpson just not afraid to go over the middle of the field, and not a lot of college quarterbacks want to do that. When you can do that, I think it unlocks a lot because it really forces defenses to play you in a different way, and then allows a lot of other things to be able to get going. So he does that well. Some of those deeper balls down the sideline that Kalen DeBoer was talking about, I imagine some of the difficulty there is, hey, safety's got a chance to come over. Well, how's the corner going to be playing it? You got to fit it in at the right time. Receiver has to understand when that ball is going to arrive. So you need to be on the same page there. Saw some of that quick game you saw. So, yeah, I thought the intermediate stuff, he understands how to change ball velocity. He's not trying to throw slants 100 miles an hour all the time. I actually thought the touchdown pass to Isaiah Horton, was it kind of like it almost looked like a little seam or post route, like into the end zone?
A double post.
I don't understand how the DB doesn't make that play. I mean, it's like
you can't cover that.
You can sit there and rewind it. It's like it goes through the defensive back. He's literally in front of him. It's just an impeccable throw and a great play.
You can't cover it. High in the back of the end zone on a double post, can't cover it. Like, it doesn't matter what the angle is. Like it is we used to throw it to Julio time and time again. I remember one against LSU for a touchdown to the left-hand side. Remember one against Georgia State for a touchdown left-hand side. Like, that was obviously Ty's was to the right-hand side. Like, if you throw it high in the back of the end zone, that was against Patrick Peterson against LSU. He cannot catch it. Like, it's a touchdown every time. Like, and if you place it right as the quarterback, you throw it exactly where it needs to be for your guy to go up and get it, see ya. It's over. And Isaiah Horton provides them with that length that they have not had in the last couple of years. Length and consistency. They had length last year with Caleb Odom, but that's not really that. Like, he was not yet where he needed to be as a guy that could really contribute. So I think it's really, really important to acknowledge the high-end level of accuracy on that throw and the quality that you're going to get from a 6'4" receiver that can go up and get it. Like, that is an amazing attribute to have.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubts. Kalen DeBoer on the chemistry between Ty Simpson and the Alabama skill players.
They know that if they run their route hard, they're going to hit the ball, right? And so they're flying around, doing their thing. What I really love, too, about the core right now is there's an unselfishness about it that's developing. Guys know that, hey, I might not be the primary, but I'm going to do my job, and then someone else might get the ball, and the next time it's going to come their way. I saw that happen a couple times today, and so the guys just, playing for each other, we call some of them, running around for the love of the game. You're clearing out, you might get the ball. You always got to be ready, but you're running 100 miles an hour as fast as you can. Someone else coming underneath. I think, Germ's touchdown that he had over the middle would be a great example of that, and us blowing out the secondary there and opening up that seam.
I love that.
Some not a lot of receivers want to do very often, G-Mac.
And in week one, there was not a lot of that. If we're going to be completely 100% fair and honest, say what you want. There were guys that were not clearing out the route. Like, there weren't. You go back and watch it. A couple guys on clear outs kind of going through the motions. And guess what? Observation, adjustment, fix it. I see it again. I'm going to embarrass you by ripping you in front of the world. All of that. I mean, to me, that was really, really big adjustment.
And it's not a hard one.
And it's an acknowledgement, though. He's acknowledging it there.
Right. 100%. Yeah, no, but I'm saying it's not a hard adjustment by the individual. Just try is all you have to do. No. Run fast.
Run your tail off.
It's pretty much the two things you have to qualify for is you got to be able to run, you got to be able to catch. Like, that's do one of the two things we brought you here to do, and we'll be okay. And so also go the direction that we ask you to.
What are the two things that offensive linemen are supposed to do?
Put their hand in the date and block people.
Hand in the date and block. That's all that's all we're asking. Just block. Why is it so hard?
I don't know, but there's some guys out there struggling with it right now. Oh man, there's some struggles in certain places that it's inexplicable in a couple spots. In a couple of spots where I think guys are able to do it and they're not really giving them the chance, which is kind of disappointing. So, Kalen DeBoer also on the toughness that his team is showing. how he goes about getting that out of them.
We understand what we're capable of doing, and there's just, I think there's those older guys that have stepped up in their leadership role, and there's younger guys that got a feel of it in that first game and understood that it doesn't just happen by itself. You got to make it happen. You got to go will it to happen, and you don't just will it to happen on Saturdays. You got to will it to happen, during the course of the week. And so, Tuesday morning, you got to show up and you got to do your job. And I just keep asking the guys, when that alarm clock goes off, we're popping up on a bed and we got a purpose, and that's to go practice today, to go play. And we just got to keep that urgency that I feel like our guys have right now.
So he is getting that out of them, because you're seeing it a little bit more at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, and it's working. I mean, that's to me the way that offense was supposed to look. You're taking advantage of the width of the field, the length of the field. You get multiple people involved. Your tight ends are helping. I thought Cuevas had another good game helping out, but really the tight end room had a nice game in this one. Brailsford maybe not as good, but I thought he was solid. I thought the guards played well in this game. It's just you're starting to get a thing looking the way it's supposed to look, G-Mac.
Can I just for a moment, and I want your opinion on this, because I'm sitting there thinking, watching the game, both live and after the fact, going back and rewatching it yesterday. I might be of the belief, and call me crazy, the best thing that's happened to this team was the way things went and how ugly it looked against Florida State. I'm talking for the long-term health, development, getting the players' attention, rattling some cages. The best thing that happened to this team was for things to go the way they went in Tallahassee. Because I have noticed a different level of urgency from defenders. I've noticed a different level of urgency from offensive players, the way guys are finishing on a few different occasions. Are there things to clean up? Of course there's things to clean up. They are far from a finished product, and it doesn't mean that they're going to now go win the national championship. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that putting everyone on notice a little bit and kind of waking some folks up, I think the outcome at Florida State in the long term is going to end up being one of the best things that happened to this team this year. Are we on the same page, or do you see it differently?
I think in the long term, there's a good chance we're going to say that. And in the long term, I think there's a good chance we'll look back and that'll be accurate, because with what we're seeing right now, it needed to take place. There were probably some egos that were getting a little out of control. There were probably some guys that felt like they were getting a lot of things that hadn't put maybe the amount of work into it that needed to go into it, and then that took away from some preparation. It took away from some maintenance that maybe wasn't taking place, and they saw pretty quickly this is the impact when that's the way you're going to operate. So I don't know if I can say it right this second, but at the end of the season, I think there's a really good chance we're going to be able to look back on it and say that. And it'll be something that I think if the coaching staff is honest, and if a couple of those players were honest, they would say, yeah, we needed it. And a couple will probably say individually we needed that to happen, because you go out there and say, man, you don't put the right effort into this. You don't do things the right way. This is how it turns out, and this is how it goes. And then obviously you don't want it to look that way, so you make those adjustments.
No, you're still proud. You still want, you want to win. I still believe, everyone wants to win, at their core. But I think it showed you that anything less than your best is not enough. Anything less than your best is not good enough. And I think it woke people up, because guess what? There's video everywhere now, man. There's accountability. It's not like the olden days when you could give half-hearted effort and next thing you know, nobody knows that it was you. It's out there. Everyone can see it. And I think that it was the exact wake-up call that some of the guys needed. A couple egos getting checked, putting a couple guys on notice. And now, as you look forward, it's going to end up being a really good thing for the team, as long as that accountability continues, both within the locker room and outside the locker room, and with the coaching staff, with the players. I think it's going to end up being a great thing. And by the way, I think everyone is starting to wake up to the idea that, hey, guess what? Florida State's a pretty good football team. They're a pretty good team. Like, losing on the road in the first game of the year against a really good team it's not like it's not like it's the first time it's happened. Like, it's happened before. It happens. It's a hard, tough situation. You hate to have lessons learned like that in defeat, but hey, it happens. You know what I mean? So I think it's going to be a good thing down the road.
I think so too. Luke Fickell, Wisconsin head coach, just his thoughts on Alabama compared to his team after the game.
The truth of the matter is, I told those guys that was a much better team than we are right now, and they showed it, and they did everything that they needed to do. They played complementary football, and we did not. We knew we had to come out here in the first half in particular and play solid, play poised, play confident, find a way to make some plays and on both sides of the ball, but really make sure that what we could do was make some adjustments at the halftime and come out the second half and make sure that we could put the pressure on them. And it's exactly opposite of what we did.
So, and I think we kind of knew that. We knew that maybe not so much, maybe not exactly from the team perspective, Greg, but from a talent perspective, we knew that.
Right. I think so. And look, I got a lot of respect for Luke Fickell. I think he had one arm tied behind his back right now with an injury to his best offensive player, and that's his center. I think it was going to be tough sledding for them offensively. I'm sure he's a little surprised with how much the offense was able to move the ball against that defense. They are good on that side of the ball. Like, I think we'll fast forward to the end of the year. You're going to say, all right, that was a pretty dang good defense that Ty just threw 380 yards against. Like, we're going to end up looking at that at the end of the year and say, golly, like that was a heck of a performance. Because I think that's a pretty good group on that side, especially up front. So I don't know if you see, like, do you think that that's a Wisconsin team that's going to end up, winning a couple games against quality teams because of how they play defense?
I think their defense will keep them in some games for sure. I'm a little concerned about the offense. They actually had a little more juice at wide receiver than I expected.
Same.
Going in. I was like, okay, a couple of jet sweep here and there, like kick and go. That one was, that was probably my biggest surprise. And I think I knew that the physicality would be there up front, but holding up the way they did on a lot of plays, not every play, but a lot of plays, probably surprised me about Wisconsin at the same time. So,
right.
But yeah, they got a ways to go. They don't have the bodies, and if you're going to be a run first team, I don't think they have the offensive line to do it. I liked that the kid tried to tough it out, but it wasn't going to be there against that group. So, and I don't really know where the Big Ten is top to bottom right now. Like I don't.
That's fair.
I look at that league and I kind of think that it's funny because I was thinking last night, like, who's the best team in college football right now? If you just had to say, somebody asked you right now, not rankings, whatever, who cares? It's like, who's the team you'd least like to play anywhere? So like, who's the best team in your mind? And I just was curious as to how clear of an answer a lot of people could give on that. Because I don't know if I know exactly right now. Like the AP poll has Ohio State, Penn State, LSU, Miami, Georgia, Oregon.
How do we know about Penn State? Like,
it's fair. It's totally fair.
They played Homewood High School and Alabaster.
Okay, well, look what Texas
Not Thompson.
is now. Look what Texas appears to be now. In Ohio State, they didn't manhandle them. So I think right now, for me, it's between two teams, Miami and Oregon. And you could say the same thing about Oregon. I mean, Oklahoma State, that's a Big 12 team. I understand that they beat a conference opponent this week, but Northwestern got blown out by Tulane and beat Western Illinois. So I don't know how much credit I'm giving them, and they lost their the leading rusher the last two seasons heading into this one. So yeah. I think Miami has more of the resume.
I like Miami,
and I think Oregon, if you're just watching them, they look pretty good. Like, there's a lot of things about that team that look really good.
They can go.
I think the tackles have a chance to be better than they were last year. The quarterback can play. They've obviously got skill. It hasn't been an issue since Dan's been there. And defensively, I think, kind of like what we said about Wisconsin's front, I think if people watched Oregon, they would probably have a similar vibe. They'd be like, wow, they got some dudes in there that get after you a little bit more than I thought they did. So It would be between those two teams for me right now, but I could give you a lot of others that feel like they can get there, or they might be there, or they could be there soon. But I'm with you on Penn State. That I don't know if that's the team to have number two right now, but just based on who they played and what they've done against those teams they've played.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I don't know yet about them. Like, we'll find out. They got Oregon coming up. Like, we'll find out. And, you know, look, I'll tell you what I think. I think the team I'd least like to play is Miami. I think they got 2 game changers, maybe 3 up front defensively. I think you got a quarterback that's on a mission. I think your weapons outside are legit. I think you have arguably the best tackle in the sport as far as run blocking is concerned. I don't know about pass blocking. I think in run blocking, the right side of that offensive line can mow you. I think it's Miami. And it's crazy to say that, but tell me who's playing better than them.
Yeah, I don't think there's a team that I can tell you right now is playing better and is better at all the facets like they are. Line of scrimmage skill, the receivers are better than people thought they were going to be. Quarterback's playing well, so a lot of ball left, as we like to say here on the show, and we will find out at some point. But man, it's going to be a fun year. Always fun when you head over to Bromberg's though, because there's a lot of things that you're going to like.
It's the best, and I'm very, 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 very appreciative of the experience I've had every single time I go in the door. I got a buddy who's in the watch market right now, just looking around, thinking about trying to figure out what to do, what to buy. His father passed away, and he wants to buy something to remember his dad. I'm like, you need to go to Bromberg's. So he's going this week, and he's going to buy something special that's going to remind him of his dad, and going to remind him every single time of the lifetime experience that he had with his dad. That's what Bromberg's is there for, to get you something that will help you stand the test of time. You're not just buying something to wear. You're not just buying something to have. You're buying a memory. You're buying an experience. And I've always been grateful to Bromberg's for providing that for me and my family. Every single thing I bought there, I know will stand the test of time. Every single time I go in there, I know why I bought that specific item, what it was for. And the sales staff has just helped me out every single time I've gone in there as well. So go and check them out in the Mountain Brook Village store. They're undergoing a renovation right now too. It's amazing. Go and check them out at the Summit as well. It's Bromberg's.
All right, want to talk about Greg's game. We'll talk about my game a little bit. We have a couple folks chiming in via Twitter with questions on Alabama and Auburn. We'll get to those. You can be a part of the show as well, 800-239-9569. Get to all your thoughts from over the weekend next right here on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. 9:26, Monday, September 15th, right here on Jocks. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll get to your feedback on Alabama, Auburn college football over the weekend. What do you want to discuss? What did you see? What did you hear? What do you want to try and get to? We'll hit all of that now. On the Twitter line, at Mac and Cube is where you can tweet into the show. Kid Bama Kid tweets in, thought the D-line for Wisconsin was good against the run. Also, he tweets, hey, Mac, is Keenan out for the season? Well, I can tell you from being there last weekend, there was no discussion about him being out for the season. The goal was the Georgia game as far as what we were told. So I don't know if you've heard anything different, G-Mac.
No, I have no reason to believe he's out for the year. I fully expect him back.
Royal Payne College Football tweets in, how does the UGA D performance versus Tennessee relate to the Bama scheme and Ty Simpson, Greg?
How does the what? How does the what performance?
Georgia's performance on defense against Tennessee relate?
Well, after the first 3 drives, first quarter, frankly, like they screwed down the hatches pretty good, I feel like. And a lot of it was just winning one-on-ones on the outside and guys falling down and
jump ball.
Losing some contested catches. Like I think Bama can move the ball in Georgia for sure. Like, I mean, do you? Like, I think they can. I mean, I think it'll be hard, just like it always is. It's a Georgia-Bama game. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard as it can be, but that's the beauty of it. That's what's awesome. That's why you play the game. So my impressions of Georgia did not change much defensively in this game last weekend. Frankly, my opinion on Georgia has actually improved because their defense didn't have their best stuff, and they still found a way to win. The offense, when asked to go score 40-plus, has now shown that they can. And Tennessee, frankly, on the other side, I think they're going to be better on defense as the season goes along and they get healthier on the back end. But I feel better about Tennessee. It's one of those weird games where I come out of it feeling better about both teams.
I don't think there's any doubt. John from Florence tweets in, at Cole Cubelic, is Vandy for real? Because they look it. I wish Auburn played that way. That travels no matter the weather. Very impressed with Vandy. I'm going to leave Auburn out of this discussion and just have a Vanderbilt discussion. I will tell you, being there and seeing it in person, and someone who's had Vanderbilt often the last couple of years, they are different this year. And I think there's a couple of things that I consistently heard from players, coaches, staff members, and it was confidence, number one. I think that was an off-season emphasis that they tried to just hammer in to this group. I don't know if some of that is like the Diego Pavia factor of belief that sets in, and like they just, because we talked about it last week. Like there's going to be 3-4 plays, which, by the way, the catastrophe plays were there. I mean, he pitches the ball looking left one time, and it ends up getting yards. He pitches the ball to the right one time, and it's a fumble. It was a terrible decision, but the ball rolls out of bounds. He throws across his body down near the end zone, and it's an interception. But his defense and his team bailed him out to the point where it didn't matter. Now, you also got one rolling right. He throws across his body. It's a completion. So it was about a push on his potential catastrophe plays. But I think they proved in a game like this they can overcome that now.
Yeah.
Greg, they have a little bit of an edge, man. Like
Vandy?
they have a little bit of an edge. I'm just telling you. Like
You think?
they got some guys that don't like that people think they're a one-man show. They got some guys that have been counted out for a long time. They got some guys that they bring a little bit more nasty this year than they have in the past. And it starts on their offensive line. I mean, they go and get a kid from South Dakota that brought a little extra oomph. They go get the center's teammate from Liberty, so now they're playing next to each other. He likes to get after folks. They're just a little bit different, and they have a little bit more of an edge than they did a year ago. I think last year they had sort of – I'd reference that as maybe swagger with a little false confidence. They got a real edge this year. Like there's things they know they can do. And they added some speed on the perimeter, which that offense with a little bit of speed dynamic to it that makes you cover things east and west. It's a handful now. It can be tough to slow down. And defensively, they just play hard.
Yeah, and the big thing with Vandy is you catch them on the wrong day, you're in trouble. The other thing about Vandy is they don't have the depth that a lot of other teams have. So will they be able to sustain this level of performance all the way through? That's the big question. Because, hey, a lot of teams, and this goes for the G5 too, we talked about it last week, a lot of teams can go these first 5 weeks of the season. But once attrition starts, once that starts to happen, will you be able to sustain the level of performance once you start losing guys? And everybody loses them. Bama so far, for example, down the running back, down the D tackle, down a receiver in the second game. Like, if that happens to, for example, Vandy, how much is the drop off? I think that's a fair question.
It's a fair question about everybody as well, specifically
1,000%.
Vanderbilt. But like Bama Kid tweets back in, problem I see this year is all the team one injury away of the quarterback from a bad season. Backup in most cases has no experience. Greg and I sat here and tried to tell you, Trinidad Chandler can play, man. And he was going to help him anyway because he was going to be sort of their run threat at QB. Well, you come in and you alter the plan just a little bit and say, okay, we don't have to go downfield as much. We'll go a little more east and west, but we'll add some more quarterback run. Guess what? Just as difficult to defend. Still can hit a pop pass to the tight end and nobody's covering him.
Yep.
They may be in the best quarterback situation in the SEC right now.
It's
Think
hard
about
to
that.
push back on that.
I mean, it's crazy to say, but
But Trinidad Chambliss didn't have 5 stars coming out of high school, so how good can he really be?
it's fair. But I'll say this about South Carolina. If you watch the end of the half, when Lenore Sellers goes out of the game, I mean, Luke Doty comes in there and he's operating the offense. Now, can he get it down the field the same way? No. Does he give you the Q run? No. But they didn't go backwards. Now they became a little more one-dimensional as far as which they struggle with traditional runs anyway. That was questioned from me, but they don't go out there and just run inside zone down people's throat. They can't. No. They're not good enough to do that right now. But when they have a quarterback that can run it the way Lenore Sellers can, and they mix and match some movement with it, all of a sudden you're kind of like, what? Where are we? And next thing you know, they're getting yards. Well, that changed, and they don't have you've seen their receivers. Like Nick Harbor's a physical freak show, but I mean, he's not a great receiver right now. So they don't have the guys to go out there and just help a quarterback that doesn't move all that great, that doesn't have a huge arm but knows the offense. Like, if they had LSU's receivers or Bama's receivers, I think they would have continued to move the ball up and down the field. But they don't have that right now. So, yeah, they're in a really bad spot. So, and I don't think it's just quarterback, by the way. I think there's a lot of teams, even in the SEC and the Big Ten, you take one guy off their team, they're going to be really different.
Look at Wisconsin with the center.
Yep.
I mean,
look at Florida's defense with Caleb Banks in the couple games without him before. I mean, he didn't even play every snap. He came in there and made an impact, and they're a little bit different up front. So
I think Florida's still going to be a handful. I really do. I think Florida's still pretty dang good.
Let me ask you this, Greg, and we're going to talk about your game. Is DJ Lagway healthy?
Yes. I mean, and I love DJ Lagway. Like, I think he's a great kid. I think he was seeing some serious ghosts. But
he looked like he was protecting his lower extremities in that game when I watched the film.
think he's healthy. I mean, I don't get he was cleared 9 days before the first game. And the guy went 8 months without playing quarterback. It's just not sustainable. Like, it's not, you can't be good and go that long without playing. I don't care what anyone says. But I don't, like, for example, end of half. Like, I said it in the broadcast. I'm like, I'd be conservative here. Like, quarterback has made some mistakes. Like, he already threw a pick early, missed a throw early. Like just take it to the half. You're tied 10-10. You know what I mean? Just take it to the half. You're going to be fine. And he throws a pick on a ball across the middle that he was baited into. And I don't think that was a good decision by Billy to try to go steal some points before the half. I would have just taken to the half and, hey, let's just regroup. We get the ball coming out. We're in good shape. Defense playing good. And sure enough, they steal 3 before the half. And then, you're in your quarterback struggling then. You know what I mean? So They got to get him more comfortable. They got to get him dialed in and settled in. I think the misdirection stuff, nakeds, bootleg, stuff like that. Like we only saw a couple of them. There weren't enough. That's, I think, something they can clean up quite a bit. But, we'll get to it and we'll talk about it. I want to talk Georgia, Tennessee. Need to talk that too. I mean, there's things to like about Florida, but there's also things to be concerned about for sure.
All right, we have more commentary coming in, questions coming in from the listeners. We'll get to that on the other side. Tell you a little bit more about what we thought about some other games that happened around the SEC. We'll do that next right here on Jocks. $8:40 Monday, September 15th, right here on JocksFM.com. Download the app in your App Store, iPhone, Android. You can grab it for free. Also, watch us live on YouTube every morning. Search Jocks945. Go back and catch it the rest of the day if you missed it, and keep in tune with us that way.
If you're looking for the largest discounts and the best service in the great state of Alabama for a GMC, think no further than Bill Smith Buick GMC. They're the GMC Dealer of the Year, the 5-time national champion. You'll understand what I'm talking about the second you go up, take a lap around the lot. You'll see GMC Sierras that are $14,500 off the sticker price. They come in normally $66,000, $67,000. You can get it for just over $52,000 at $52,335. That's an SLT, beautiful vehicle They're a GMC Sierra. You can also get a Buick Encore, $29,375 is the list price. That's what you'd pay elsewhere. Take $5,000 off that list price. You can get it for $24,375. It's deals like that keep people coming back. That's why 75% of their business is repeat customers. That's because you have a better experience when you shop with Bill Smith. You can also go and check out their used car superstore. It's amazing. See what you'll get there. Find a deal regardless of what the budget is. They can find something for you. So go and check out Bill Smith Buick GMC. It's a short drive up I-65 exit 310, Highway 31. You can also shop online, have it delivered right to your driveway at BillSmithBuickGMC.com.
Interesting question coming into the show that I'm going to pose to you, G-Mac, and we'll see. I have right here, for those watching on YouTube, written my answer down. And I want to see how ours match up or do not. And if John and Damien want to chime in with theirs, they can. Bama Black tweets in, Mac and Cube, who are the top 3 quarterbacks in the SEC today?
Okay.
You can go ahead. I've got mine written down.
You want me to go right now?
Yeah, because I'll reveal mine in a moment after you give us yours.
All right, John Mateer 1.
Okay.
Are we on the same page there?
I'll reveal mine after you give yours in just a moment.
Oh, all 3. Okay.
All 3.
All right. So John Mateer 1. I don't think that requires some ridiculous amount of conversation.
I think that's a right-handed layup.
I think so. Number 2. Gosh, it's hard for me not to go with what I've seen so far this year. And the upside, Taylor Green's in the mix.
Okay. That'd be number 2. So then number 3.
Number 3, I will go with Diego Pavia.
Wow. Look how far he's come.
Wow.
Right now.
We were close. I don't know if you can see mine or read my handwriting.
I cannot read your handwriting. So if you could maybe transcribe that for me.
John Mateer, Taylor Green, Ty Simpson.
I think Ty is on his way. I do. I really, really think he's got that kind of game. I am. The only thing I would say about Ty to this point, and granted, I think there's a lot to like. Goodness gracious, it's a lot to like. But the happy feet that I saw in week 1 is just a little bit still in my mind. So if I could just
hasn't
go
thrown
off
a
the
pick.
if I can go off the last 2 weeks, it's no doubt. He just held the ball a little too long against Florida State for my comfort level. But there's a lot to like with what we've seen the last 2 weeks and the confidence he's starting to play with.
I did debate Bo Prabula in that spot.
Level of competition still, to me.
That's the one thing that held me back a little bit.
Correct. Yeah. I'm not there yet.
And I thought there were a couple in this last game against the Cajuns that I think he'd like to have back. There are a couple throws he just flat missed, and I was thinking, that's a high percentage throw you got to make. You got to make that throw. But he leads the SEC in completion percentage. Has only thrown 1 interception. I don't think there are a lot of people out there, by the way, that know Ty Simpson hadn't thrown a pick this year. I think if you're just walking down the street and ask a lot of Alabama fans, they would say, well, 3 or 4. I'm just saying, the guy has not thrown an interception yet. 72% on the year. I think he's been great. And I think if you really dive into that Florida State film, Greg is right. There are a couple times that he's uncomfortable, but there were also a lot of reasons for him to be uncomfortable with what was happening up front. So,
and it's wet and it's raining and very difficult circumstances for the quarterback in that game.
You know what we'd never hear in a rain game? Oh, pass pro was so tough because it was wet and it was raining. We never hear that. We never hear like, it's tough to run block because it was wet and it was raining and it was cold and it was loud. We never hear that. Not one time in my life have I heard somebody say, yeah, I got struggled in pass pro because it was wet and rainy and cold and the crowd was loud. But by God, let a quarterback have a bad game. Every ounce of weather, crowd noise, environment, stratospheric temperatures, like the dew point, everything comes out. It's just unbelievable.
Are you suggesting that I'm making excuses?
Maybe.
Is that what you're suggesting?
I think I'm saying.
I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you. Like when it's hot and sweaty. Oh, imagine that. A 330-pound guy sweats. Yes, I get that. And you know what? Heaven forbid. Our game is built a little bit more on precision than just meatheadedness. So yeah, I'm sorry. The weather does affect quarterbacks a little more than the offensive lineman up front, who is going to sweat if it's 30 degrees or if it's 130. Like, goodness gracious alive. Oh, quarterbacks are soft. You stand back there and get hit in the face. But when you're in a vulnerable position, you stand back there and
we try to prevent that. But
all right, you know what we'll do? Here's what we'll do. This off season, when you can miss a couple shows, you just want, and because it's going to take you a couple days to recover, let me run full speed at you and let Damian try to block me. And you tell me how much you like standing back there in the pocket. And we'll do it. You know what? We'll do it next July when it's 130 out. And you tell me how accurate you're going to be with the football. Actually, let's make Locke or Judge block me.
Are we sliding Nicole? Are we sliding Nicole or we head up?
How much time do I have to work with them?
Well, if they try to cut me, I'm just going to jump right over them. Like, I know what the play will be. They'll try to cut me. No, that won't work. That won't happen.
Okay. All right, Damian, top 3 quarterbacks in the SEC right now.
I'd have John Mateer. I'm going with Bo Perbula. And number 3, I got Taylor Green.
Okay. John?
Taylor Green is at worst, too.
I agree.
Like,
He's been unbelievable.
Worst. Yeah. I'm not saying he'll finish there.
His protection hadn't been great either, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, he can circumvent it and get away from it and move around it and work through it. Like, he's been awesome. Like,
I'm not
he
saying
had one bad
there.
decision against Ole Miss. It was a bad one. It was rough.
It was a real bad one.
That was it, though. And yeah, he's not getting a ton of help around him. So his receivers are better than I thought they would be, but he's not getting great help up front right now. John, who are your top 3 SEC quarterbacks as of today?
Mateer, Pavia, Simpson.
Okay. I like the Diego Pavia love. For me, like, I kind of categorize him more as football player than quarterback. I understand he plays quarterback, but
wow.
I mean, I get it. You know,
here he is talking about how quarterbacks are soft because of the weather, and now he's saying that Diego Pavia is not really a quarterback. I'm telling you what, 2-3 more shows we're fighting with comments like that.
It's a good thing we're in different places.
You're not even
all the time,
allowing
man.
us to claim. We're not even allowed to claim Diego Pavia in the quarterback family because he's too tough. Is basically what you're telling me. That's
did you see the block he threw on that one option? He threw his shoulder on the guy.
Yes, that's fine. What you saying? I haven't blocked in my career. Like, guess
Not
what?
like that.
Gunnar Stockton, by the way, had to deliver a couple blocks in this game against Tennessee.
I'm
guess
not
what?
going to reference those blocks. I'm the one where he got knocked on his face. Like that.
He got in the way, and he did.
He did.
Okay, he did more than most. Okay,
Great
he
try.
did more than most. All right, credit is due.
I will celebrate the effort, but I mean, Diego's in there throwing shoulders on people. Like, it's a little different.
Hater.
Okay.
Oh, I don't count Diego. He's more of a football player than he is a quarterback. That is so backwards.
It isn't. It's not. Like, they don't ask him to really quarterback. They ask him to play football. Like, I know he plays the position, but it's a different ask. You know? It's the same reason last year that Navy's quarterback was on nobody's Heisman ballots. Because they just looked at, well, he doesn't know how to play quarterback.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing, by the way. I just saying, like, if you're asking me quarterbacks and who plays the position best in the SEC right now, he's up there, probably top 5, but I'm not going to put him ahead of those guys. He's definitely not ahead of Mateer or Taylor Green. Now, you want to debate him at 3 with Ty Simpson, Bo Perbula, a couple other guys? Okay, maybe, yeah, I'll allow that. But I think 1 and 2 are pretty sturdy right now for me.
You will find no pushback from me on the top 2.
Yeah.
And I think Ty's got an argument for top 3. I think the progress that I saw a little bit from Stockton, I think he's got a chance of getting there here at some point. I don't know if he's there just yet.
Where's Aguilar?
Shoot. Yeah. I mean, I think Aguilar had a couple misses there as things cooled off. So I'm not going to put him there just yet. Perbula, I think, has got a chance to be in that mix at some point down the road, but level of competition is something that I am still somewhat concerned about. I think Jackson Arnold in time. We'll see what happens this week on the road at Oklahoma. We'll see how he handles that, but I think he could play them sway into that mix. And let me just throw you one other wild card here. You ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Trinidad Chambliss. Let's just keep an eye on him. If that kid, look, no one's going to make the Arkansas Razorbacks defense out to be the 85 Bears. There's something there. I don't know what. I don't know quite how to quantify it yet. There is something there with Trinidad Chambliss. That kid is a bona fide baller. And I think Austin Simmons is a future first-round pick in the NFL. But the decision-making that we saw in the first couple weeks of the season leaves me thinking that I wouldn't be that surprised to see Trinidad Chambliss maybe man the ship here for a couple weeks. I think that kid's got a real chance.
All right. Trinidad Chambliss, by the way, you know what Lane told us his favorite thing about him was?
That he's good at football.
Football player.
That he's a football player, not a quarterback.
Football player. He's a ball player, man. So
Yeah,
I'm saying
that's
that's SEC head coach telling me that.
Freaking bona fide clown water. I'm so over it.
It was fresh water, not clown water.
Oh, wow.
That was a good one.
Wow.
All right, we'll be back with more after this. All right, next hour, Tyler Watt's going to join us when we come back. Give us his thoughts being inside Bryant-Denny Stadium Saturday, and then Todd Blackledge will be with us at 9:20 right after that. He was on call for Texas A&M and Notre Dame. His thoughts on the Aggies. First, I'll tell you about Game Day Men's Health. If you're feeling on edge, if you're lacking sleep, lacking energy, Game Day Men's Health wants to help you today. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com, sign up for that free consultation. You get the free PSA test, free testosterone test. They'll tell you where your baseline health is. Peptides are in stock, weight loss programs there. Tell them you heard about them on Mac and Cube in the morning. Save 10% on any service that they offer. Locker room environment, holistic approach to health and wellness. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Open now in Trustville. Just go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com today and sign up for that free consultation and go find out what they can do for you. Tyler Watts talking Alabama football and a win against Wisconsin next right here on Jocks. Welcome back again. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 9 a.m., Monday, September 15th, right here on Jocks. Listen online, jocksfm.com. Download the app. Watch us live on YouTube. Search Jocks945. Tyler Watts joins us now on the Higginbotham Hotline. You can hear him via the radio calls for Alabama football games. Next to Chris Stewart and Corey Reamer. By the way, how's Reamer doing so far? I haven't been able to listen to you guys yet. Is he fumbling questions? Is he having trouble jumping in? Is he stepping on you? Like how's he doing so far? We're curious.
Well, at the beginning of the season, we put a lot of game film on of you doing sideline reporting from the previous years, and he's done an excellent job. He's kind of following your lead of how you kind of handle things. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it's impressive. No, he really is doing a good job down there, bringing a different perspective. I love having a defensive guy down there because I don't understand everything that they're doing now.
Yeah.
But he's doing a good job of reporting just the feel of the sideline, what's going on before the game at halftime, and then giving some different perspective that honestly I just don't understand.
Well, he doesn't want to follow my lead specifically this weekend. So how is the run game for Alabama right now, in your opinion? Because there are a lot of Alabama fans questioning this. Greg and I have given our thoughts on it. Were you watching this game sitting back thinking that this is a potential problem?
Not really, and because I thought in just watching Wisconsin leading up to this game, they were ranked, top 5 against the run leading into this contest, and granted it was against the opponents that they had played. However, they're salty up front, man. Their linebackers, they attack downhill, and they continue to do that. So you knew they wanted to make Alabama one-dimensional. They couldn't hold up in the secondary, and I think that they knew that, but they had to take a gamble. But they're tough up front. But you got to be consistent with it and keep to it. And I thought that as the game went on, Alabama started creating some things, between the tackles that were positives. And Kevin Riley continues to impress me, man. The kid just runs so freaking hard. He made a couple of great catches out of the backfield as well. So he's being utilized in a lot of different ways that you normally don't see freshmen. But I'm okay with where they are right now. I mean, look, sometimes you have to run the ball to open up the pass and vice versa. And right now, if teams want to challenge Alabama's receiving core and Ty Simpson and say, hey, beat us through the air, I don't think that there's an Alabama fan out there that didn't say, I like that matchup.
Looking at where they've grown over the last couple of weeks, like what is the one specific area where you feel like there's a tangible difference so far?
I think it's up front on the defensive side. I think that the linebackers are finally starting to attack the line of scrimmage, and they're not giving up. They're not giving up much along the front. They're not getting pushed around. They're not getting spread out and allowing a lot of big gaping holes to open up. Wisconsin ran a lot of stretch zone as well, trying to create some of that spacing that they thought was necessary. And we're setting the edge much better than we did earlier in the year, and we're getting good pursuit. And there's just not a lot going on up there, and that's a huge compliment to those guys. They're playing with a ton of energy right now. And what I really like most is in that attacking styles, man, you're starting to hear some pads thumping. You're hearing the helmets hitting. So they have been much more aggressive over the last 2 weeks. And, it carried over from the Lob Monroe game, which is what you wanted to see. But now they got to figure out how to sustain that and take it on the road, because they have just not played well on the road over the last year and a half.
Tyler Watts joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. He's with us every Monday to sort of recap Alabama football. He's on the radio broadcast with Chris Stewart and Corey Reamer. Ryan Williams back, made an impact, made some plays, but based on what you saw, and now with a couple of other youngsters emerging, specifically in the slot, where do you see his role going moving forward in this offense?
I think they're making an effort to put him back out on the outside where he feels a little bit more comfortable. He did make a couple of catches. One thing Ryan has to slow down a little bit, though. He's starting to run before he catches the ball. He had a bobble early in the game. He was able to secure it, but then he also had a touchdown pass that he just absolutely took his eyes off. It didn't right square in the hands, and he dropped it. And he's got to make sure that he focuses in on that. But sitting on the sideline over the last week or so, watching Latier Brooks and Jeremy Bernard continue to play hard, you can really see that the wide receiver room has elevated their effort out there on every single play. They're blocking for each other. And right now, Brooks and Bernard they're the dogs on the outside when you want to run to the perimeter. They're getting after it. And I think that Ryan Williams is seeing that you know what, I play at this level, I'm going to make a lot of money. And if I don't, well, I'm probably going to be here a couple more years.
What do you make of the defense's effort? I know it's against an offense that was a little banged up and not great, but where do you think this group will continue to grow, and where do you think they have a chance to get to as the season goes along?
Some of the looks you really wanted to see, and you got a couple of turnovers. Bray Hubbard had 2 interceptions on the day, and one of them was after an Alabama turnover on down. So that was huge. But there was a time, I don't know if he had man coverage on a tight end. Tight end didn't release, so he kind of dropped back and was able to pick off a little curl route. But that was a huge, because both of those interceptions were as Wisconsin was going in to potentially set up for at least a field goal opportunity. So the looks are there, but we're aggressive up front, which is allowing the secondary to kind of do some nice things with coverages. But we're getting in some hit pockets now. I don't know how good of a receiving core we've faced to this point. Xavier Brown got beat once or twice, which was a little concerning. But you just got to keep on working, keep improving every single week, and throw some different looks out there. But the more aggressive you're able to be up front, especially without bringing extra guys, it's just going to help those secondary guys out.
Tyler Watts with us on the Higginbotham Hotline, former Alabama quarterback every Monday. A couple of youngsters, a couple freshmen stepping up on the O-line, the D-line. How much impact are they going to make throughout the course of the year, specifically once Alabama gets into SEC play?
Well, Michael Carroll is kind of the guy that we're watching right now. He has come in and done a really nice job. They've used him a couple of times down in the goal line situations as like an extra, tight end, H-back, lead blocking. And then he and Jaden Roberts in the second half were working the left side of the line of scrimmage, and man, they were blowing up the defensive line. Now, Wisconsin was a little worn down right there, but Michael Carroll is kind of the guy to watch right now as he continues to improve. He keeps working those guys in front of him, making them get better. And if they don't improve their game, then it won't be long before he steps into that starting role.
Do you think he's ready for that?
I don't know. Don't see him on a daily basis, so you don't know what kind of mental mistakes he's making throughout the course of the week. But man, he's getting after it when he does have his opportunities, and I think that's the improvement. Look, this coaching staff, I don't always understand why, but they are more than willing to play as many people as possible as they feel have earned the right to get out there and compete on Saturdays. They're not hesitant about just playing starters. They feel if you do the work during the course of the week, you get out there and you play.
And that's a great thing, too. I look at some of the best programs. Oregon, to me, is kind of the great example of that. If you look at their contribution chart, I mean, they play 6 safeties in the game. It's insane how many guys are getting reps. And I think it's a great thing for development and keeping guys engaged and incentivizing great work ethic and practice.
Very well could be, because I know the only time I was embarrassed out on a football field, multiple times, but truly embarrassed by not preparing properly was because I didn't think I was going to get in the game. And so if guys are itching to get out there knowing that they're going to have that opportunity, they're, like you said, they're going to stay engaged throughout the course of the week, and they're going to continue to improve. And look, it's a game of attrition. It's a hard-hitting game. You're going to have guys go down, and having those folks with game reps under their belt can do nothing but help you.
Tyler, I'm with you. And the way this staff and Kalen kind of explained it to me is like with the Austin Mack situation and Michael Carroll too. And like I tried to tell people, like they did this with Vandermark last year. And Kalen told me the exact same thing. He said, if you're practicing the way you're supposed to practice and you're improving, you're getting better, that's not an indictment on the guy in front of you. But we want to reward the guy that's going out of his way to do all those other things correctly. And they deserve to play. And like the three of us collectively all sat there and watched for periods of time when we were younger. And what better way for our coaches to get us to practice harder, pay better attention to what we're doing than to say, hey, if you bust it and you do it the right way, you can actually get in the game. Because my redshirt year, there was no way I was getting in the game. Redshirt freshman year, it was highly unlikely I was getting in the game. If there was a chance that I could have practiced harder and done a little bit more in practice and actually played, I don't know what else it would have gotten out of me. Or other guys, same thing. So I think it's a brilliant move, because you think about where you're on the portal era too, Tyler. Like you're keeping guys happy for being around.
You are, you are. You just got to make sure that they are truly prepared to play, and I think that's where good coaches kind of have to make that decision, because you don't want to put a guy out there all of a sudden he get beat for a big play, and that ended up being the difference in a ball game. So they have to earn it. They have to be prepared, and like we continue to talk about, man, it continues to push those starters up front of not being content where they are.
Do you anticipate Tim Keenan to be back for Georgia?
Yes, he's out of the boot now, walking around. I absolutely expect him to be back. Jam Miller to be back. Jam Miller's been begging to get back on the field, but it's probably good to give him a couple more weeks of off time and staying away from contact. So I expect both those guys, and that's only going to help out. LT Overton got banged up a little bit in this ball game, so you're starting to kind of lose some defensive linemen. And as you get into SEC play, man, we're seeing it every Saturday. It's good competition in this conference. You're going to need as many folks up front as you can have.
Absolutely. Tyler, great stuff. We always appreciate it, man. Always fun catching up. We'll do it again next week.
Hey, thanks, fellas. Y'all have a great week.
Tyler Watts, member of the Alabama radio broadcast team, joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. I don't know, Greg. I haven't seen a lot of other coaches do it this way, operate this way. essentially rewarding practice habits, improvement in practice. But the more I hear about it, think about it, talk to Kalen and the staff about it, it just makes perfect sense. Than to just say, no, you're second team, so therefore you're buried. Sorry.
Right.
And until guy gets hurt, you're not going in the game unless we're up 40. I mean, that's
100%.
To sit there and say, man, you know what? That guy's gotten a lot better. He's ready. Like, we put him up against the ones in practice. He handles his business, does things the right way. Well, let's make our depth even better and get him some meaningful reps in this game. I'm all for it.
I think there's a lot to like about doing it that way. And I think it accelerates development. I think it accelerates guys' willingness to be engaged. I also think, it kind of is a reminder, like, hey, guess what? Everyone's replaceable. Like, you don't play well, guess what? Someone else will find someone that does. I think it's the right way to handle it. So I've always kind of felt that way, and pretty encouraged by what I've seen so far with how they're rolling guys. And honestly, frankly, how some of the backups have stepped in and played pretty well.
Absolutely. Tell our listeners about Polar Bear Services.
Well, Polar Bear Services have done a great job. Wes and the guys have been great to me and have been going to them for a very long time. And it's been hot as can be the last couple of days, but it's probably starting to cool off as you look at the weather coming up. Probably time to get your whole comfort system checked out so it's in top working order, because here in a month or two, maybe even a couple weeks or two, you're going to have the AC running during the day and potentially having the heat running at night. That's a little tricky on your system. So make sure it's ready to roll for some of the changing seasons that are upon us. They do system tune-ups, duct cleaning, repair, new installation, you name it. They also have a lot when it comes to the electrical work, whole home generators and plumbing, serving all throughout the great state of Alabama. Remember, if you have a problem with your electrical, plumbing, heat, or air, just pick up the phone and call the Bear. It's 205-497-BEAR. That's 497-BEAR.
Okay, when we come back, we'll get you updated on some other in-state scores, hear from other coaches around the SEC, and then talk to Todd Blackledge, who was on call for Texas A&M Notre Dame. Haven't mentioned much about that one yet. Massive win for the Aggies. We'll discuss it more next right here on Jocks. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, Monday, September 15th, 9:16, where I am here in Charlotte, 10:16 where I am, 9:16 where you guys are. A couple scores from around the state quickly before we get back into the SEC. Talk to Todd Blackledge about A&M and Notre Dame. Sanford goes down to Baylor 42-7. They're 0-3. 13-25 combined for 100 yards passing. They did slow down Sawyer Robertson just a little bit. 23-37, 211, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. Jacksonville State goes down to Georgia Southern 41-34. Cam Cook 120 rushing yards, 394 total yards, but not enough to be able to get that win. Memphis takes out Troy 28-7. Memphis is 3-0. Two Troy quarterbacks combined to go 12 of 32 for 72 yards passing, no touchdowns or 1 interception. 23 carries, 40 yards rushing for the Trojans. Be very careful this week in Arkansas. Be very careful. That's all I'm going to say, Greg.
I have not spent enough time watching Memphis yet, but I would imagine that they will come to play in their Super Bowl opportunity because so much attention has been paid to USF. Memphis like, hang on, don't forget about us. We're 3-0. We're in the mix too. And if we win the AAC, we might make the playoff as well. So I could see that game being tricky.
Yep. They also, that game at Memphis, by the way. UAB takes out Akron 31-28. Kitna goes 30 of 45, 341 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. 422 total yards for the Blazers. They were just 3 of 12 on third down. So not the cleanest game, but you get the win. That's all that matters right now. You're above 500. You get to 2-1. They're at Tennessee this week. So a nice win there for the Blazers. Alabama A&M takes down Tennessee State 23-21. They're 2-1 on the season. Cornelius Brown, 21 of 33, 329 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Trevante Abner, 5 catches, 104 yards. Tuskegee goes down to Jackson State 30-0. Alabama State takes out Miles 37-9. So some in-state scores from over the weekend there. We'll get to Todd Blackledge here in just a moment. We've got our bad box scores of the day coming up. But first, Greg, tell our listeners about ProLift.
Well, ProLift Garage Doors has been great, and I always appreciate knowing that if I have an issue with my garage door, it's not too late. Like, you can get it taken care of before you have problems. Oftentimes with garage doors, you don't know you have an issue until it doesn't open. Well, you can get ProLift out, have them take a look at things. There's no service call fees. You only pay for the work, not for the visit. They can service all brands of garage door, and you can also upgrade the appearance of your home with a brand new garage door. So if your garage door is struggling or slow response times, noises, vibrations, shaking, call for a maintenance service. They're down in Baldwin County. You can call Jeffrey, who runs the office down there, at 251-210-2300. And if you're here locally, you can call Mike at 205-931-5927. Check the website, though, if you don't write down those numbers right now, by going to proliftdoors.com. That's proliftdoors.com. ProLift Garage Doors, lifting your expectations.
Let's talk a little bit of Texas A&M and Notre Dame, GMAC. It was a physical game. I mean, these teams were trading paint. I thought both defensive lines were problematic. Both offensive lines at least played hard. You know, Jeremiah Love, tough for him to find some space, did a couple of times. A&M couldn't really get a traditional run game going. Marcel Reed had to move around in the pocket a little bit. It was a fascinating game, and I think it was about what we expected. Notre Dame kind of tried to grind it out. A&M had been working a lot through the air, maybe anticipating that wasn't going to go against Notre Dame. I don't know if they truly gave it a shot. They had a couple early, but Marcel Reed made enough plays. You get a big mistake on a mishold, and you come back and find a way to win the game. Just a huge win for Texas A&M to be able to go to South Bend and get that dub.
You didn't think it was a hold on the kick return?
No, you fumbled a snap. That's what I'm saying. You had a botch on the hold.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the hold.
You're talking
hold
about
on the kick
play?
Return. Yeah.
Oh no,
I'm talking about on the kick return touchdown. I don't know if you watched it, but I didn't. I thought it was a hold. I thought it was the correct call, but what do I know? I think there was a lot of really good moments in this game for A&M. I think they're a legitimate threat. I still think Marcel Reed's accuracy at times is occasionally suspect. But I thought when you got to have it, I thought he made some great plays. The biggest takeaway for me in this game is how good A&M's receivers have become. With Craver, Concepcion, They got two guys that can really crush you in run after catch and on some downfield stuff. So they took advantage of a couple critical mistakes. They were opportunistic on short yardage stops. They had two of them, one on third down, one on fourth down. They were really, really good and just capital on every single mistake that they made, Notre Dame that is, A&M took advantage. Whether it's a drive extending penalty on 3rd and 16, they took advantage. And they got away with a couple. There was a couple times there on those last couple plays, their first down 10, second down 10, Notre Dame almost intercepts the pass to close and finish the game. But you got to give credit to A&M for capitalizing on every single mistake, because I don't feel like they let Notre Dame off the hook for just about anything.
No, I would agree. And I mean, watching Jeremiah Love play football is fun.
He's
watching
amazing.
that Notre Dame defense kind of try to knife through. I thought the tackles for A&M struggled a little bit. Thought 71 left guard played really well, did some really nice things. The backs ran hard. The backs helped in protection, did a nice job there. But we'll get to Todd Blackledge now, who was on the call for this game. And Todd, it kind of felt like this one went as expected. Notre Dame would want to slow it down, try to have a grinded out style football game. A&M had really been working things through the air mostly this season, and it felt like that's where they leaned. Was there any way schematically that this game went that was a surprise to you?
Well, I think the only surprise for me was I don't know that I anticipated that high scoring of an affair. It was in the 20s. Last year, I kind of thought it still might be. You still had, two, on paper anyway, a lot of good defensive players, two defensive-minded coaches. So I was a little surprised that it got into the 40s, honestly. But there was a little bit of everything in that game. You had a block punt for a touchdown early, the Notre Dame's first score. You had special teams plays. You had turnovers. You had offensive playmakers making plays all over the place for 4 quarters. So it was, the game had a little bit of everything, but that was the only thing that maybe, surprised me a little bit was how high scoring it ended up being.
It was really impressive and fun to watch. And Ledge, it's great to visit with you first and foremost.
Yeah,
my friend.
Thanks, man. Good to be with you guys.
Buddy. So looking at A&M, I look at Marcel Reed, and I think there's a lot to clean up. He missed some throws, but when you had to have it, like in gotta have it moments, he delivered. Yeah. However, the biggest takeaway for me is the upgrade that A&M's made at wide receiver. They are totally different there with the catch and run stuff. So how do you assess kind of this firepower and how this offense could cause problems in the future?
Yeah, look, offensively, as long as they can stay healthy, they've got a veteran offensive line group that, now look, Notre Dame gives you a lot of different looks. They've got a lot of guys that can create problems up front. They've got depth and linebackers. And I thought for the most part, again, the offensive line for A&M did their job. They're an experienced group. I think that those wide receivers that you mentioned, Craver and Concepcion, they have, from the first game, they've been the guys that have set the tone for them. And they are guys that, Craver particularly is a guy that might run by you and catch one over your head, but they're both guys that are going to catch short balls, make a guy miss, and the yards after catch that both of these guys are showing is made this a different team. And I made that point at the beginning of the game that this is a much different offensive team that Mike Elko has playing Notre Dame this year than he did last year. It starts with Marcel Reed and the threat that he is, both as a runner and a thrower. But you add on these new wide receivers they've got, and it's, and then they got a couple other guys in Ashton Bethel Roman and Terry Bussey who can take the top off the defense as well. And then you've got these two new guys that catch the ball underneath or crossing routes or, return routes and those kind of things and make big plays. So, and then Le'Veon Moss, you just see the difference in this offense when he's healthy and kind of the bell cow runner. He's a physical guy. He's going to get tough yards, and he's very dependable. And, when they lost him last year, their running game really took a nosedive. So right now, they look like a team that's going to be a very difficult team to deal with because of the variety of ways that they can hurt you offensively.
Todd Blackwood's joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline, was on call for Texas A&M and Notre Dame. Todd, I'm interested in your thoughts just on the A&M offense because you had a chance to talk with Colin Klein heading into this one, and it feels like a lot of times they're okay sitting back there throwing the football. And I think formationally they don't give themselves a lot of balance in the run game, but they have an offensive line that can get after you. They got great running backs. Was there any discussion of trying to put more emphasis on that? Did that need to maybe happen after this game? What do you see for the future of the A&M offense?
Well, I think for the future of it, I mean, obviously, you talk to any offensive coordinator, any coach, they're going to want balance, but balance doesn't necessarily mean, 50% run, 50% pass. Balance is, in a particular game against a particular defense and what they're trying to do, what can we do the best at? So it might be 60-40 pass one game. It might be 60-40 run a different game. I think ultimately they want to be good at both. I think they feel good about their offensive line and their ability to run the football, particularly with Le'Veon Moss. And we didn't see a lot of design quarterback run from Marcel Reed, but that's part of what they can do, and part of their arsenal. But I think also, going into this game, Notre Dame, particularly last year and even this year, they have a lot of trust in their corners. They want to play a lot of man defense, and I think they felt pretty good about getting those opportunities to go one-on-one against some guys and make plays. Now, Leonard Moore came up with the interception on the one fade ball that was thrown a little bit inside by Reed, but they hit a bunch of plays too. So I think that, based on how they're defended and what a team tries to take away or give them, I think they're going to strive for that balance, and I think they will be able to be a balanced offense.
As you look at Notre Dame, just going forward, I still really think this team's very good. People talk about their lack of a pass rush. Like I saw a lot of gold helmets on the other side of the line. I think they're going to be a huge problem for a lot of teams going forward now that their schedule softens. I think they have a quarterback. I think they got an elite weapon at wide receiver in Fields. I think their collection is pretty dang good across the top. So everyone that's suggesting that the sky is falling for Notre Dame, how do you view where they're at right now?
Yeah. Well, I mean, just think of it this way. So they lost to two teams that are both top 10 caliber teams on the last, virtually the last possession of the game. So two games that they very easily could have been in position to win, a couple plays in either one of those games, and they're 2-0 and probably ranked in the top 5 right now. So, I mean, I think that's how close they are. And yet the reality is they're 0-2, and they really don't have much wiggle room or margin for error the rest of the way out in terms of trying to return to the college football playoff. But I agree with you, Greg. They're still a really good football team. Defensively, I agree. I think they did pressure the quarterback better in this game than they did in the Miami game. That was one of the areas that they felt like they needed to be better. I thought their offensive line was much better in this game than they were consistently in the Miami game. So, and then C.J. Carr, I think I don't know how much you could ask of a quarterback to play, in his first 2 starts, how much more you could ask of him than what he did in those first 2 games. And I thought he was significantly better in the second game than he was in the first game, other than the one he kind of, floated over the middle for the interception. But they're better at wide receiver. You mentioned Fields. Will Pauling was a good addition for them. Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price are as good a combination as you're going to find anywhere. So yeah, I think they're still a really good football team. I think the one thing Notre Dame fans need to be aware of and be ready for is, they've got Purdue coming in this week. And, even though Purdue is better under Barry Odom, Notre Dame should take care of business there. But the trip to Fayetteville is not going to be a picnic. That will be a more difficult game than people might realize, I think. Notre Dame going on the road to another SEC team, playing at noon, I think. So anyway, but beyond that, they got to hope also that USC continues to play well, which I think USC's got a chance to be a really good team, and they got to hope USC comes in there as a ranked opponent when they face them in October.
Absolutely. Was there anything defensively for A&M that, because I thought the edges got home, I thought the middle of the defense played fairly well, but anything that you see on that group that you talk to Elko and company about that they're a little concerned with moving forward?
No, I didn't sense anything that they were a little concerned about. I know that obviously, the status and the injury to Bryce Anderson is going to be, have an impact. I mean, he was a starter. He was a guy that was playing well. Chappelle, the nickelback, missed the opener, coming back from an injury, missed most of all of last year. So, I think in that safety spot and that safety rotation, they're going to have some guys ready to step up. I mean, I think they're solid at corner. Their corners look like they're supposed to look playing in the SEC. They're confident guys that they can, trust to play coverage out there. Love the linebackers, with Scooby Williams being healthy again, although he did leave the game at some point. But he and York are really, really solid. They love Lockhart, the kind of the third linebacker that they rotate through there. I think they've got depth up front. I think defensively they've got the pieces. The safety position is probably the one that might be a bit of a concern going forward.
Todd, great stuff. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for kind of recapping this game for us. Great job on the call as well. And we look forward to catching up with you again soon.
All right, guys. Take care.
There you go. Todd Blackledge joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline recapping A&M Notre Dame. This is one of those games, GMAC, you're on the road, tough opponent, well-coached football team, talented team. You take your win, get out of there, man. You start making corrections today, but heck of a win to be able to go there and get it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot to feel good about with the Aggies. Resilient, opportunistic, answering when they had to answer. I thought they were good in protection. I liked the protection for the most part, especially knowing what they were going against. I think they're a problem. I mean, I think A&M's a real problem. And I've kind of thought that for a while now, but now I feel like it's rooted in fact, not hope. They got things to clean up for sure, but that was a heck of a win, I think, because I think Notre Dame's really good.
I would agree. All right, we'll wrap up a couple of those games, hear a little bit more on Greg's game, my game, and maybe hear from Hugh Freeze when we come back next right here on Jocks.
Welcome back. McElroy, Cubelic in the morning, 9:38. Couple segments left. Continue on with your reaction here on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. It's one of those weekends where it's a little bit tricky. And Cole, I don't know if you feel this way. I feel like it's one of those weekends where it's really tricky to sit there and say, yeah, this is for sure who this team is. Because you sit there and while there were some good games, there were a lot of vulnerabilities exposed, I feel like, in some cases. Cole, and I don't know about you. Like how vulnerable do you think A&M is defensively with some of the yards given up to Jeremiah Love and some of the opportunities that CJ Carr was able to create through the air? How vulnerable is Tennessee against just a bruising run game that started to get going as things went along? Against giving up a couple deep balls over the top. How vulnerable is Georgia on misplaying things in the secondary? They made some adjustments. They got hit on the edges of the defense in the run game a couple times. They gave up a bunch of shallows early, made the adjustment, got hit with the shallow and up. Like, how vulnerable are some of these teams that even in victory, maybe you're coming out of it thinking, yeah, you know what? I maybe there's a lot to clean up than we anticipated.
Yeah, it's still early in the season, so it's going to happen. Not everybody's going to be on the same page. Not everybody's going to have full understanding of how all the units are going to operate. From a Texas A&M standpoint, I'm not going to be super scared about the secondary because Cassius Howell and company continue to get to the quarterback. So I think if the pass rush stays where it is, you're going to be okay. Here's what I would say about a couple of the runs that they gave up. Number one, let's go Texas A&M here. Let me get to their schedule real quick.
Yeah,
and we'll get an idea of exactly what this thing's going to look like. You tell me, who are they going to face a better backfield combined this year? I mean, they've got Auburn, Mississippi State, Florida would be one that I would put in that mix with just talent. Arkansas, LSU, Missouri, South Carolina, Samford, Texas. Missouri got some good backs. Texas, good running backs. They're not breaking tackles right now. Mississippi State, LSU, South Carolina, Samford. No, they're not going to play a better tandem of running backs, number one. And number two, I'll ask you this. I'll say Missouri probably. Texas, no. Samford, no. LSU, definitely no. Arkansas, no. Florida, probably not. Mississippi State, definitely not. Auburn, maybe. How many teams are going to play that will stay as dedicated to the run as Notre Dame did?
Not many.
Maybe Missouri, maybe Auburn, and that's it. Maybe Florida. So, I mean, that's one thing that you give, Denbrock and Notre Dame credit for. They're going to continue to try to run the ball. They're going to find it at some point. So, I think with the combination of backs that they saw, the positive stubbornness of the scheme, the system, the play caller, the personnel, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just don't think they're going to get that very much. So, I'd be more concerned about the safeties in the back end. So that might be something that I'd be a little bit concerned about. But who was the next team that we asked with? Georgia. I mean, I feel like Tennessee's going to get everybody once or twice. And I guess here's why Georgia – I think a lot of people, Greg, would say, well, Georgia had success against them in the past.
Yeah.
Well, Georgia also had multiple wrecking balls up front in the past. And Tennessee's offensive line wasn't as good. It's kind of like I told Paul, and you and I hadn't had this conversation. I left this game feeling better about Tennessee than I did Georgia, and I'm dead serious. And again, I
already knew what you knew about Georgia.
Right. That's not putting Georgia down or saying that I feel less about Georgia. But I don't know if you're with me on this one, Greg, but I turned that film off last night, and I said, that is as close to an even physical matchup that I have seen in a Tennessee-Georgia game in maybe a decade. Like, physically, those two teams traded blows in that game up front. Tight ends, running backs, linebackers, guards, centers, tackles, D ends, edge defenders. I mean, there were multiple plays where Tennessee guys knocked the hell out of a Georgia guy, and there are multiple plays where a Georgia guy knocked the hell out of a Tennessee guy. Like, it was back and forth up front, man. It was really fun to watch because normally that's not how Tennessee's cut out, and they get taken advantage of that way. Well, Georgia's front couldn't consistently do that in this game. Yeah. So I almost think that's more the reason. Like you said, jump balls, guy not turning around locating football in time. it wasn't. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I remember it incorrectly. I don't think there was like 6 or 7 Tennessee receivers running wide open down the field. So I'm not that concerned about the Georgia secondary. No,
I'm not. I think they'll be fine. But I do think that this game, more than anything else, proved to me that in the event in which Georgia's defense is not up to par, they can outscore you. And guess
that
what?
was big.
You're gonna have games where your defense doesn't play great. It happens. They can't get off the field on third down. They are struggling for whatever reason. Like, you can be a great defense and still get got. Like, what was one of the best defenses we've ever seen with our own 2 eyes in the history of college football was 2015, 2016 Bama. 2015 Bama. And how many points they give up to Ole Miss? Like 40?
Yeah.
I mean, it happens. Like, there's sometimes the ball doesn't bounce your way. There's sometimes the offense is just hot on third down. There's sometimes when the ball gets tipped up that should be intercepted, the guy catches it, takes it to the house. Like, it happens. So in those games, when your defense doesn't show up, can your offense get you out of a jam? That's not always something that teams can do. And I think there's a lot to like about what we saw from Georgia in that regard.
I will say this. I have one massive concern about Georgia moving forward. I'm interested to see if you can guess it, or if we're on the same page here. There's one spot on this team that they have a big problem with right now.
You think they're overly aggressive? I don't know.
Well, they've been that offensive tackle.
Right tackle.
Left tackle had some bad plays also, and they rotate over there. And the tackle position is. I thought Monroe Freeling had some really good reps at left. Also, he had a couple rough reps, and I think tackle in general, but specifically the right side, yes. But in general, that is a problem for that football team right now. And I think they're fortunate that they got really good perimeter blocking in this game. One specifically from London Humphreys on a screen, and another from Oscar Delp on a screen. Because without that, I don't know, man. Like, yes, they pushed the ball down the field against Tennessee, and we knew they would want to. Didn't know Tim Banks would bring a safety blitz from depth on the first play of the game. But I'm just telling you, that's going to be a problem for them. You're not going to continue to be able to stretch the field if you can't keep guys off your quarterback.
Fair. I have no problem with that. Let's ask the age-old question. Of the teams that Georgia will play this year, who's got a better pass rush? Texas. Okay. Who else?
I don't even know if I'd say better. I would say maybe comparable, as good, better in spots, better out wide. Okay. Even if we said Texas, I'll give you that one. It's fair.
Yeah.
I'm going to the schedule. Alabama, not from not a pass rush perspective. Kentucky, no. Auburn, no. Ole Miss, no, not right now. Florida, not across the board. Yeah, no. I mean, they're not going to. You're right. They're not going to see, but it doesn't. But Bama can be problematic. Kentucky's got some edge guys that I like. Auburn's edge guys. I thought Crawford played great this weekend. He and Falk could be problematic. Ole Miss does have guys that can get home. Florida's got a guy or two that can get home. So it's not like you're not going to face good pass rushers. Just, collectively not as many as that group. No.
So that's my thing. It's like I don't know who else is going to expose them. Like, can Centarian Perkins for Ole Miss, like, off the edge?
Who played great this weekend, by the way.
Yeah, but that's what I'm getting at. Like, there's not a ton of teams with just crazy juice off the edge that are going to give you a ton of problems. They took Ernest Green out of the game at one point. Like, I know he's been banged up or whatnot, but like, unless you have like a really, really disruptive and dynamic edge presence, I'm not sure who can get you. I think LSU's got that, by the way, with Harold Perkins. Like, I think they're like, him off the edge is a huge issue. Like, he's crazy, crazy quick and twitchy. Like, I don't think it's a bunch of twitched up DNs that are going to just run right around him. I think Tennessee is one of the tougher groups in the SEC.
No, you're right. They are. Your CBD store has products that can help your daily routine be better. Skincare, gut health. If you need to drop a little bit of weight, the Trim by SunMed on the shelves now at the largest brick and mortar CBD retailer in the world. First company to have USDA certified organic oil supplements. They've got the stamp seal on those products that have met and achieved a certain set of standards and tests to be signed off on. Arthritis, anxiety for you. Arthritis, anxiety for your pet. They've helped pets in my household. They can help pets in your household as well. Just feeling better, waking up, more energy. Your CBD store has products that can help, and yes, they're open, and yes, the products are still there. Visit one of their 3 locations, Highway 280 by Bailey Brothers, 150 by the Cage in Cleveland, Trustville, just off 459, your CBD store where good health hits home. All right, we'll come back here in just a moment and give you a couple bad box scores of the day and wrap up a Monday edition of Mac and Cube next. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 10:53, where I am, 9:53, where you guys are. Before we get into our bad box scores of the day, G-Mac, tell our listeners about Shannara Flooring.
Well, Fu and his guys have done an amazing job of stockpiling tons of inventory. Tons. So much so that they're willing to now give it away for a very, very nice price. You can get between 20 and 40% off this Core-Tech flooring. This Core-Tech flooring is beautiful. It is resilient. It has 20 mil wear layer, which means it's built to last, and they are pricing it to move right now. With the 50,000 square feet they've accumulated, they're passing that savings on to you at 20 to 40% off. It's a deal you just can't touch. So remember Shannara Flooring when you want Core-Tech. Call who? Call Foo. Call them today at 205-518-6423. That's at Shannara Flooring. You can also go online to fooandyou.com.
All right, bad box scores of the day. Our chosen sons, the Soldotna Stars, do not really qualify, but 28-21 over West Valley, they do get the win. They've got Wasilla next week. The Wingate.
They're the Warriors?
They're not. They're the Bulldogs.
Oh.
Took on the Bluefield State.
They're the Blue Jays.
No, the Raiders.
They're not. They are the Big Blue.
The Big Blue. That's pretty close.
Okay.
The mascot, a Great Dane, by the way. So
Okay.
I love that.
there you go.
Big Blue, I think. Great Dane. Okay.
Go Big Blue.
Yeah. Well, the Big Blue were black and blue after they lost 72-7 against Wingate
Sounds like
over
they
the
blew it.
weekend.
Wasn't a shutout, though.
That too. No,
There
it
you go.
wasn't. For Wingate, Elijah Holmes was 12 of 16 passing, 203 yards, 5 touchdowns.
Light work.
Ooh.
12 of 16, 5 touchdowns. Caleb Kelly came in with 4 of 4 for 38 yards and a touchdown.
Okay.
So you're probably thinking, man, pretty efficient there. Well, then the ground game got going. They ran 44 times for 337 yards,
There we go.
4 rushing touchdowns.
Let's go.
Balanced.
There you go.
Just 50 yards rushing in the game for Bluefield State. Over in the state of Texas, the Stephen F. Austin.
The Colts.
They are the they are the Lumberjacks.
They are, and I think this team was in bad box score of the day last week or the week before. The Sul Ross State.
Rattlers.
Oh, I remember
Panthers.
them. I don't
No,
remember.
no.
I'm gonna Bobcats.
Lobos. They go to 0-2 as they go down 63-0.
Ooh, those bows were low.
Well, that's one part of it. Sul Ross State passing in the game, a combined 2 of 8 for -3 yards.
It's not ideal.
Ground and pound offense. That's fine.
Could probably assume that they had no touchdowns, did throw 1 interception. Andrew Martinez, 1 of 7 for 1 yard.
Okay.
That's a real box score. You say, okay, they got it done on the ground. They ran 29 times for -18 yards.
Oh no.
It's a special teams team. That's fine.
They did get 1 first down. They were 1 of 10. So they were outgained 534 to -21 total yards.
That's a double.
Ooh. Not great.
Oh, boy.
Turned
Not
it over
great.
3 times as well. They did win time of possession, though, so give them credit for that.
There you go. What more do you need?
All right, we're back tomorrow. 3-man front is next.